Hello, I'm Cath and this is made by Cath Craft. Thank you very much for joining me for this video, which is going to be a sewing and knitting makes video. Mainly sewing, but I have got one knitting make to share too, which I'll pop at the end of the video in case that's not your bag. But I've got a few different garments to talk about that I've been busy sewing up. And I think a few of these I haven't really talked about much on YouTube, mainly because through May, you may have seen I did a Me Made May video series where I filmed a number of videos coming on every day to share what I was wearing that day, and I talked all about the patterns and fabric and how I felt about each outfit. I also shared a bit of life in general in those videos. I'll link the playlist down below in case you fancy a watch. They were quite fun videos to film actually, quite chatty, and I shared a bit of me out and about too. But yeah, because I was mainly focusing on what I was wearing on a daily basis, I didn't talk so much about what I was sewing each day. And I wasn't sewing every day, but I have done some sewing, so I've got some to share now, and I'm really looking forward to catching up on what I've been making. So yes, that's the plan for this video. Before I start sharing my makes, I'll just mention briefly what I'm wearing today. And today it's quite a nice sunny day here in the south of England, so I decided to put on a dress. And this dress is a really nice, comfy, easy dress to wear. It's a hack of a top pattern, this top pattern here, the Bowie top by French Navy, which is a really nice woven top pattern with a button down back. And it's got this curved hem. It's kind of like a cropped style woven top. It's got grown on sleeves with a cuff, as you can see. And I basically just hacked it off, sort of straightened the hem out around the point of where the curved hem goes up at the sides, and added on a gathered skirt with pockets to turn it into quite a nice, easy, relaxed day dress. So it's got the button down back. Pull my hair back so you can see the neckline. It's quite a wide neckline, so actually, although I have made actual buttons and buttonholes that do work, I can just pull it on over my head. But yeah, I'll stand back a bit so you can see the full dress. What I love the most about this dress is the fabric. I really love this fabric and all the colours in it. I got this fabric a while back from Simply Fabrics. I'll link their website down below. They generally seem to have small batches of different unusual fabrics coming in and out of stock quite quickly, so this fabric won't be available anymore. But they always have a really interesting range, so I do enjoy just having a browse their website every now and then. But this fabric is a washed cotton fabric, so it's really nice and soft with quite a nice, I'd say it's like a rough texture, but it doesn't actually feel rough on my skin. It's just got a bit of a texture to it, a bit like a linen might or something, like a washed linen. And I just loved all the colours in the fabric, and it's really nice and soft and comfy to wear. So yeah, that's what I've got on today. I'll put a picture up just so you can see the full outfit too. But yeah, let me move on now to sharing some of my makes from the last few weeks. So the first make that I thought I'd talk about is one that I think I mentioned I wanted to sew up in a fabric haul or sewing plans video back in April. And now it's all finished. In fact, I finished this one quite early in May, I think. So it's been done for a while, so it's nice to finally be getting around to sharing it and talking about it here on YouTube. But it's a dress that I made using a pattern I really, really like, and I've used this pattern several times before. It's this one here, the Kylo wrap dress by Named Clothing. So it's a jersey wrap dress pattern. I've got the old style pattern, which is just for quite a one view really, this maxi length jersey dress with a slit at the back, and then you start up in this shape and then use these ties to wrap around to create a really pretty wrap dress. But the pattern has been extended and enhanced since this version. You can now get it comes with a jumpsuit option as well as the dress option. It also has a larger size range, and I think a different way of finishing the neckline, and also the option to add on sleeves. I haven't actually upgraded or decided to get the new extended pattern just because I've kind of got used to hacking this one. I've hacked it to make it shorter. Also, a while ago, there was a free sleeve add-on that I've got traced out to be able to add sleeves onto this version as well. And I'm not sure the jumpsuit is so much my thing anyway. So yeah, I just keep enjoying using my old style version. So I decided to make another maxi length version. I've only got one of those and I always enjoy wearing it, and my one's getting a little bit old now, so I thought it'd be nice to make a new one. And so yeah, that's what I decided to do. I saw some fabric that went by on First for Fabrics on Instagram, and I thought that would make a lovely Kylo wrap dress. So I got that and sewed it up, and here is my finished dress. Which is quite long and hard to show, but you can see the fabric, and I'll put some pictures up in a moment. This fabric is a viscose jersey fabric, which I think works really well for the Kylo wrap dress. And what I particularly liked about this fabric was that it's not like a printed on fabric, so you can see the stripes are on both sides. And I think because with a Kylo you do kind of pull it quite tight in places, I thought maybe with a printed fabric you'd kind of, if you stretched it a bit, you might start seeing the kind of white from the back of the fabric underneath, whereas this fabric you can stretch it and you won't see anything, which I like. So yeah, this is my Kylo wrap. I decided to make the simple version, sleeveless version, because I got lots of wear out of my old one. And my old one's actually stripy as well. I really like the effect of the stripes when you tie the waist around. I think it's really effective. So yeah, it was really nice. So one thing I always do is lengthen the ties slightly, just to give more flexibility for different ways to tie it. And I think I make the size 6, which might be slightly down on my measurements, but I found with this one it's quite a forgiving fit generally, just because you do tie it to fit you. So actually it isn't kind of designed to be figure hugging in terms of the main dress. It's to kind of in this loose shape, and you can tie it to fit. But yeah, I really like the darts. I think they do add a really nice shape to it. Oh, the other thing I changed is actually, like I mentioned, the neckline has been updated on the new pattern, but on the old pattern there were 2 ways given of finishing the neckline. One was just to turn the fabric under and then just stitch it down, which I find risks stretching the fabric out. Or the other option was to add a sort of jersey binding on the inside of the neckline, which I feel like can sometimes be a little bit bulky. So what I decided to do instead was I decided to finish the neckline using the Mandy boat tee method of finishing a neckline, because this neckline does remind me a little bit of the Mandy boat tee. It has got a bit of a sort of wide boat style neckline. So basically I finished the front and back neckline pieces before I stitched the shoulder seams together, and I turned it over and then stitched at that point like that, rather than stitching all the way around, which I often find then can end up stretching it out. So yeah, and what I usually do is I usually use a twin needle, so I think that gives a much nicer finish on a neckline than a zigzag stitch, particularly when you're turning it under, and I think that's often the zigzag stitch has the most risk of stretching the neckline out. But actually what I did with this one is I used Mariflex thread on everything actually, and that worked really well to give a nice sort of flat finish to the neckline, and it just made them whole make quite quick and easy. So yeah, I think when I started off using Mariflex thread I thought, oh, you know, I'm fine with the zigzag, but actually I'm gradually getting a bit more converted to it. I haven't got it in that many colours. I can't see myself kind of buying all the colours of the Mariflex threads. I think I'll use what I have. But I do have it in like black and navy colours I use a lot, and I'm enjoying using it on those, just to sew garments a little bit more quickly, and it does give a nice finish on the neckline, I think. So yes, this is my finished Kylo wrap dress. I'll put a picture up so you can see what it looks like on. I did find it came up a little bit long on me, even though I hadn't lengthened the pattern pieces. I'm 5'6". I'm not sure what height this pattern is designed for. I'm not sure whether it says, oh, here we are. It does say it's designed for a height of 5'8". So yeah, not surprising it came up a little bit long on me, so I had to take a little bit up at the bottom. But other than that, like I said, the fit is quite forgiving on this one. I think you can just wrap it around you, and it's just really nice and comfy to wear. So yeah, I'm really glad to have made my second version. I do love it in a stripe. I'm not sure if this fabric is still in stock First for Fabrics. If it is, then I'll link it down below. Otherwise I'll link the current range of viscose jersey fabrics. I think for a lovely, nice, sort of lightweight, comfy summer dress, a viscose jersey is really nice. And yeah, I did take a bit of time on the stripe matching of this dress. So that was the only sort of time-consuming point, but I think I'm pretty happy with the stripe matching. Yeah, it turned out all right. And to be honest, actually, because it's all tied in different directions, I think even if the stripe matching wasn't perfect, it's one of those dresses where you can get away with it a little bit more than like a close-fitting jersey top where you can really see the stripes down the side. But yeah, I did try to take my time on it to make it fairly even. So yeah, really happy with that one. And actually I ended up with quite a lot of fabric left over after I cut out this dress. I think I ordered 3 meters of fabric to make it in the end, because of the way the stripes run. They do have like a direction to them. And so the pattern, in the pattern envelope, they suggest you lay out the pattern pieces like this, where the 2 pattern pieces are cut in opposite directions. But that wouldn't have worked for this fabric, because it would have meant I had the stripes running in different directions and the different colours. So I had to cut them out like this, which meant I was left with a few quite large pieces of fabrics at the side. So I had a look at what fabric I had left over and found out I had enough left over to make myself a top as well as the Kylo wrap dress. So I was quite pleased about that. So yeah, I squeezed an extra garment out of this fabric with its extra side piece that were left over. And I made myself this top here, which you might recognise as one of my favourite patterns, the Freya top by Tilly & the Buttons from the stretch book. So yeah, I was quite pleased actually, because I was thinking it might make quite a cute wintry top, although I'm planning on wearing the dress more for summer. I thought the colours would work quite well for winter too, with a sort of black base and these kind of sort of muted stripe colours. So I had a look and I was able to squeeze out this Freya top with a full long sleeve. And I was a bit careful on the pattern matching of this, or the stripe matching of this one, because obviously this is more of a close fitting top where you could really see the stripe matching down the edge. So I took my time on it and I'm quite pleased with how the stripes turned out. And this was quite a nice simple make, other than the stripe matching. I think I had to make the body a little bit shorter than I often sew the Freya top, because just of the fabric limitations, because I was working with sort of random pieces here and there. So what I've ended up doing is I haven't actually hemmed the bottom. I've just kept it raw, which works fine with this viscose jersey. It isn't going to fray at all, and I probably would actually just tuck this top into a pair of jeans or a skirt rather than wear it out anyway, so I don't need too much length. It's not like it's short, I just make the Freya often a little bit longer, but I was able to make the full length arms because that's the bit I don't like, being a bit short on my wrists. So yeah, that was my extra make I managed to squeeze out of this fabric, so I was quite pleased about that. And I've got some photos of this one too, so I'll pop one up here. I'm wearing it with a ready-to-wear skirt that's really, really old. It's a skirt actually I quite like to try recreating at some point when this one falls apart. I quite like the sort of slightly A-line shape it with the jeans buttons down the front. And I thought it went quite nicely with this top. So yeah, I was quite happy to be able to use the extra fabric because I did really need the 3 meters to be able to cut the pattern piece out how I wanted for the Kylo wrap. But it would have been a shame to have all the excess fabric bits that were obviously quite decent sized pieces and not to be able to use them. So yeah, I figure these garments will sort of definitely be worn at different times of year. I do often find when I've made a second garment out of a fabric, and I wasn't originally intending to make it, it can tend to be one I don't wear so much. So knowing that, I'm really going to make an effort to wear this one once the weather gets cooler again. And I think, yeah, it'll work really well with a skirt or with a pair of jeans. I do like a stripy Freya. So yeah, that was the second garment I managed to squeeze out this fabric, which is quite good. So the next thing that I've got to share is not a make for myself. This is one that I made for my husband and was quite a nice, quick, easy sew, although I did add a bit of a variation to it at his request. So he wanted a new pair of pajama bottoms because one of his old pairs was starting to wear thin in a few places, and I'd repaired a couple of seams, but they're getting to the point where it was just going to be getting trickier and trickier to repair them. So I thought, let's get some new fabric and make him a new pair. And Fabric Godmother had quite a good sale on. It might have been on the bank holiday May weekend at the beginning of May, possibly. And I saw this fabric and thought that would make a perfect pair of pajama bottoms for him. So here they are, a classic pair of sort of checked pajama bottoms, with kind of like the fabric's got blues and greens and blacks and yellows in, so it's fairly sort of muted, which is what he wanted. And yes, I made these using a pattern I've had for absolutely ages. This one here, Simplicity 1520A, is one of the Easy Sew patterns, and it's like a family pajama bottoms pattern. You can make sort of short shorts or knee-length shorts or the full-length pajama bottoms, and I think there's child, teens and adult sizes built in. And I did originally make a pair for me too using this pattern, but I didn't quite like the fit on me as much, and I prefer to use a different pattern now. But my husband finds he likes the fit. So yeah, I thought I'd get out the pattern piece I'd already traced for him quite a while ago, get them back out and make this pair of pajama bottoms. One thing he did request was to have some pockets added into the pajama bottoms. And I have added in pockets before for him, but I've always added in just classic side seam pockets. But I thought this time, instead, to make it a bit easier, because I find sometimes those pockets will flop backwards and forwards a little bit, I thought what I'd do instead was anchor the pockets into the seam at the top. So I think I borrowed the pocket pattern piece from the Sophia trousers pattern by Tilly & the Buttons, which has the anchored in pocket pattern piece, which is a different shape obviously. So I'll try and show you here. So you can see here's a pocket, a pocket bag on the inside, and it's caught in the top here. So the pockets do stay at the front rather than flapping about a little bit. And they're quite nice deep pockets because my husband likes to pop his phone in. And then, you know, when you're walking up the stairs, if you've got quite shallow pockets, it's easy for the phone to fall out. So these ones are nice and deep, so he can dash up the stairs without risking his phone like flying down the stairs. So yeah, that was a little variation I added in, which made them a little bit longer to sew, but still not a, you know, it's still a fairly nice speedy sew. Again, I've been doing quite a lot of stripe and check matching, so I had to do that on these too. So I took my time cutting out. I don't know if you can see the seam too much there, just about to see it there, but it's nice and matched, so I was pleased about that. And then the only final thing I did was to add in, I used my little embroidery letter function on my fast sewing machine, which I really don't get to use very often. Given the number of stitches my machine has, I really just like stick to about 5 maximum probably. So every now and then when I get to use one of the other stitches, I always find it quite exciting. And I added on this little stitch on the back, just as this back, so he knows which way around the pajamas go on. I added that on before I sewed the waistband, so you can't see it on the outside or anything. I did remember, because I think sometimes it's quite hard to remember to add these things on until you think about it afterwards, and then it's a bit trickier to kind of sew it through. So yeah, that's just there so he knows which way around they go. But other than that, just quite a nice basic pair of pyjama bottoms to replace his old pair. This is quite a nice medium weight cotton, not too thick, so yeah, he doesn't want anything too thick and too kind of cozy in bed. So yeah, I made those for him. I'll try and get a picture of him wearing them, and if he's agreeable, if he is, I'll put the picture up here so you can see what they look like on him. But it's just a nice simple pattern. I mean, I know there's loads of free ones out there too, so I probably would have used one of those if I didn't already have this pattern, but it sews up nicely. So yeah, that is what I made for my husband. If this fabric is still in stock on Fabric Godmother, I will link it down below. But yeah, that was quite a nice simple sew, and he's quite happy with those, so that's all good. And then the next make that I've got to share is actually another 2 makes that I made for somebody else. This month I sewed up 2 skirts for my mum using a pattern that she'd seen me wearing and admired on me, so I'd offered to sew her up one too. And it's this pattern here, the Sabina skirt pattern by the Little Pomegranate. This is such a nice pattern. It's a free pattern with a really good size range, UK 6 to 34, and it's for a woven skirt, a midi length skirt. It's got an elasticated waist and slash pockets that are also anchored into the waistband, just like my husband's pyjama bottom pockets. And then it's got a little ruffle at the bottom. And I think this skirt is so lovely in a nice swishy fabric like a viscose. And I was wearing a viscose version. My mum saw mine and admired it, and I said I'd be happy to make her one. And we had a look online, or I suggested a few fabrics to her, and she saw 2 that she really loved the look of. They both came from First for Fabrics, so I said, why don't we get both fabrics? They're very different to each other, and I'll sew you up 2 skirts, and hopefully you'll get lots of wear out of both, and they will look like quite different skirts because the prints are very different. And I thought this pattern would be quite a relaxed one to sew for somebody else, because as long as the waistband elastic is the right length, otherwise the fit is a bit forgiving. So yeah, I've been sewing those up, and I really enjoy sewing this pattern up. It comes together really nicely, so it's nice to sew a couple more. So yeah, my mum's a little bit taller than me, so I lengthened the skirt slightly, and we decided to make one with a ruffle and one without a ruffle. I haven't actually got the skirts here because I've already given them to her. Hopefully she's been wearing them, I don't know. But I'll put some pictures up because I took some pictures of me wearing them before I handed them to her. So I'll put a picture up of the first one, which is the one with the ruffle, so more of the classic Sabina skirt. I love this fabric. It's a really pretty floral fabric, but I think it's a bit different because of the sort of scale of the print, and also the flowers are a little bit widely dispersed on the fabric. But yeah, it's got a black base and really pretty flower colours in it. And my mum and I thought it'd be quite nice because you could pick out lots of different colours for tops to go with it. It's lovely fabric to sew with. I think it came in 2 colourways on the First for Fabric website. The other one was, I think, a navy blue with slightly different flower colours. But I'll try and link whatever's still in stock, if any's still in stock, down below. So yeah, that is the first one. It will come up a little bit shorter on my mum than on me because she is a little bit taller than me. But I did really enjoy wearing it actually. So yeah, I was a little bit envious when I handed it over to her. So I thought I'd be happy to wear that one too. But it was slightly big on me. Again, her measurements put her one size larger. So although it fit me around the waist, it was probably a bit looser than it should have been. It was perfect on her, I hope. And then the second one, I'll put that up too. So my mum decided this one she might like without the ruffle, and I think it was a good call actually, because this fabric is quite like a bit more out there, I guess, with the kind of brighter colours and the print, and I think it looks really nice as just a classic, very simple midi skirt. I love the colours in this one. I think they're really lovely and summery, and again I thought it would be really nice like a white t-shirt. I know my mum said she was having a look in the shops for like a slightly oversized white t-shirt she could wear with it, so quite on trend, I think. And yeah, it was a bit more simple to sew obviously because it had the ruffles, so I just basically lengthened the main skirt pattern piece of it to bring it down to a length she wanted, which again will be slightly shorter on her than it is on me. So yeah, it was really nice to revisit the Sabina skirt pattern. I've got two myself as well, but it is a pattern I think I'd probably like to make again at some point. Both my versions are in fairly muted colours. I've got one in a black and white and one in a sort of blue and white colours. So I guess it might be quite nice to have one with a few more bright colours in maybe at some point, and it's a really nice pattern. So yeah, those are two skirts I made for my mum. And again, if the blue and white fabric is in stock still at First Fabrics, I will link it down below. I think that one also came in a monochromatic black and white as well, which looked really nice too. So yeah, that's a bit more selfless sewing I did for my mum, and hopefully, yeah, the weather's starting to get nicer here, so hopefully she'll be able to get some good wear out of in the summer if we do have some nice weather for swishing around in a nice summery midi skirt. So the next make that I've got to share is actually another make that I made for somebody else. So I've been doing quite a lot of sewing for others over the last few weeks, which has been really nice. I really enjoy making things for my family that they want or need. But I have got a few projects in the pipeline that are things for me, so I'm looking forward to that too. But this is something I made for my daughter, and it's a pair of pyjama bottoms, so it's been a bit of a theme over the last few weeks. And I made this pair of they're pyjama shorts to complete a set she has, I made for her a few months ago. So a few months ago, I made her a more wintry set of pyjamas because she had grown out or was starting to grow out of her old pair. So we had a look online and she found some fabric she really loved, and I made some pyjama bottoms and a long sleeve pyjama top. And then I also had enough fabric to make a short sleeve pyjama top out of the leftover pieces. And I made them all in this fabric here, which is really cute. So it's a cotton jersey fabric, and it's got on sort of pale pink background, and my daughter's really enjoying pale pink at the moment. It's one of her favourites. And it's got little cats on and rainbows and butterflies. So yeah, here is a short sleeved top, and I added on this pink ribbing for a little pop of hot pink, and it's got a little pocket on the front so you can tell easily which is the front and the back. And then here's the long sleeved top. Again, it's got the pockets and ribbing for the neckband and the cuffs. And then here are the pyjama bottoms, which I used the mini Hudson pants pattern by True Bias for the pyjama bottoms, which is what my daughter likes for pyjamas. So I had the little pocket detail in the pink and the cuffs too. And the pattern I use for the tops is a pattern I really like to use for my children. It's a free pattern, which is the ABB Kids Tee by DIBY Club. So I made these 3 garments, and my daughter's actually got most wear out of this short sleeve top. She wore that quite a lot in winter with the pyjama bottoms, probably more than the long sleeve top actually. And now it's got to summer, she's been wearing this top with a pair of shorts from a different set of pyjamas, so she's been a bit mismatched. And she said to me she asked me whether I could make her a pair of shorts that matched with this t-shirt, because she quite wanted a matching set. So this fabric came originally from Minerva, and I had a look and it was still in stock there. So I was quite pleased, and I ordered enough to make her a pair of pyjama shorts. So that's the latest addition to this set. And here are the pyjama shorts. So yeah, they're kind of a pair of shorty shorts, which is what she liked. And for these, I used a different pattern, another free pattern, which is the Kids Walk the Plank Pyjama Bottoms by Patterns for Pirates. There's also an adult version. That was one of the patterns I was thinking of actually when I was saying about there are plenty of free pyjama bottom patterns out there. I don't think I've used the adults version. No, I have actually used it for myself, but I actually used it, I think, for So Frugal to make a pair of day shorts rather than pyjama shorts, and I just adapted it slightly. But yeah, I've used this pattern for my son before, and I think for my daughter a while ago too, and it sews up really nicely. It is actually designed for woven fabrics rather than jersey fabrics, but I've always made it in jersey fabrics actually, and I found it just sews up just fine, and I hadn't need to make any alterations to it really. So yeah, they're just a pair of cute little pyjama shorts. I did add a little bit of stitching on the back. Again, I tried my embroidery function to add some hearts on the back in a sort of contrast colour so you can see which is the back. My embroidery machine didn't quite like sewing through this one. It was a bit hard to sew on first, so I ended up sewing through the whole thing so you can see them slightly on the back. I used a lighter thread in the back so they wouldn't be too obvious on the outside. But As you can see, my machine didn't so much like working on this fabric with the embroidery little stitches of the hearts, so they've ended up they've came out okay this side, but on this side they got a bit squished together. But my daughter doesn't mind, and you can't really see it once they're on, and it still helps her to tell the back, so, and she preferred it to a label, so yeah, anyway, I'd love it if it had come up perfect, but it hasn't, and it is fine. So yeah, those are the latest addition to our little set. I'll link this fabric down below because it is still in stock, Minerva. It comes in 2 colourways, this pale pink colour and also a green colour. But yeah, I'm glad to have completed her pyjama set. And I think that's all my selfless sewing done for the time, so it's back to sewing a few new garments for myself. So that brings me on to my final make that I've got to share in this video, which is my knitted make. And I finished this one a few nights ago. And it is really lovely to have it finished, but part of me feels a little bit sad that it's done now because it's been such a fun, enjoyable project, and I really look forward to sitting down and working on it in the evenings. So yeah, I'm a little bit sad. It's all done and dusted, but it is really nice that I can actually wear it and enjoy it now. And it's a sweater that I made using a kit that I got for Christmas, and it's this one here. It is the Cyrus sweater by Wool and the Gang. So it's a sweater with this really pretty diamond stitch on it. That's what really attracted me to the pattern, which is really fun to knit. You can't see the stitch very well at all on this drawing on the front of the pattern instructions leaflet, but I'll show you the actual sweater in a moment. And you knit it in Wool and the Gang Shiny Happy cotton yarn, which is a worsted weight yarn, and I've knitted with it before, and it's really nice to knit with and really nice to wear too. So yeah, I'll show you my finished Cyrus sweater. Here it is. I think I've shown a bit of progress along the way, so you might have seen a bit of the stitching, but yeah, here's the full sweater all done. As you can see, I chose this hot pink colour, which I really, really like. And you can see the lovely, pretty diamond stitch detail, which was really fun to knit. And I learned a couple of new methods of finishing, I think, on this sweater. For example, the neckline is done slightly differently to what I've ever done before. I'm used to finishing the neckline with rib, but then casting off at the top of the neckline. But for this one, you knit in rib up to double height, and then you fold it over and sew it on the inside. So it creates this slightly more chunkier, almost bubbly style neckline, which I really, really like. And then one other thing that was a bit different to what I'm used to is I'm used to knitting the front and back and then the 2 sleeves and then sewing it all together at the end. But for this one, instead, the way you do the sleeves is you pick up stitches along this section of the body here and then knit along from there down to the cuff and then finish with the ribbing and cast off at that end, which is a bit of a different way of doing it. And although it was a bit fiddly picking up the right number of stitches and it took a bit of time to do that, once you've done that, you could just knit to the end and not worry about sewing that on. So that was quite nice actually. And it does create quite a neat seam on the inside too. You can see there, that's the seam. So it's quite a nice non-bulky seam on the inside too, which is nice. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I think it's a little bit less oversized than it's intended to be, or that I've seen from the versions that the models are wearing on the Wool and the Gang website. And I know I am a bit of a tight knitter, so maybe I could have sized up a size to get more of an oversized effect, but I didn't. I went with kind of my size. So it's a bit more fitted than I was maybe expecting it to be. But actually, I quite like that. I think it's probably a bit more my style anyway. And I think in this pink, maybe if it was oversized, it might feel a bit too much. I don't know. It's also a little bit cropped. I'll stand a bit so you can see. I think it's just long enough for me to be able to tuck it in if I'm wearing like a high-waisted skirt. And I think if I wear it with a pair of jeans, it'll probably just cover the top of my jeans, and I probably wouldn't tuck it into jeans. I'd just wear it out for a bit more of a casual look. But yeah, so I think I'm happy with the sizing. But maybe if I made this one again, maybe I'd try it in a size up and see how that turned out. The only adjustment on the sizing I made is to lengthen the sleeves slightly. Yeah, just to make them feel nice and comfortable and cozy and long. But yeah, other than that, I didn't really make any changes. And yeah, it was just a really fun one to knit actually. And this wool is lovely to knit with. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to wearing this one. I think it might look quite nice over the dress I'm wearing today actually, sort of with the pink. Quite a nice combination. But yeah, I need to try it on with a few different things. I haven't got any pictures of this one yet, but I'll try and get some pictures and pop one up here so you can see what it does look like on. But yeah, I would really recommend it. It was really fun knitting kit. The diamond stitch was a lot of fun to knit. Had a bit of interest in it, so it's not just back and forth. You have to think a little bit, but it was still doable in front of the TV while watching something as well, which I quite like for knitting projects. So yeah, that is my Cyrus sweatshirt. I have got another project in the pipeline from a yarn perspective, which I'll be sharing in a video soon that I'm really, really excited about. So it's nice to have another project to keep me busy after feeling a bit sad this one was all done. But yes, that's my final make I've got to share. So yes, that's everything that I've been sewing and knitting over the last few weeks. So it's been really nice to share all these finished garments since I haven't been talking so much about them over my last few videos. It is really nice to be back on with a bit more of a catch up on what I've been up to. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and I'll look forward to seeing you for another video very soon. So thank you again for watching, and I'll say bye for now. Bye!